Okay. Welcome, guys, to the Meet Damien channel. I am Damien, and today's live stream, we're going to be talking about the altcoins and what the altcoins could possibly do here. We're starting off here on total market cap 2, which is the amount of money that's in crypto minus Bitcoin. And we're going to see if I can find some insights here for you guys as to like where the altcoins could possibly go. You know, how much money could possibly go into altcoin space here. And then we'll take a look at the altcoins, and of course we'll take a look at Bitcoin as well. But I want to get started here by looking at total market cap excluding Bitcoin, so we can figure out, you know, what might come next here for crypto as the altcoins and Bitcoin itself try to recover from the lows that we saw earlier this week. There might be some exciting times here for crypto based on what I'm seeing here on the charts. Let's just start here with the total market cap 2. This is total 2. It's at $1.61 trillion. We added about $15 billion into altcoin space here this past day. We're up about almost 1% for the day here. We have this red line that I highlighted, which is $1.64 trillion, which is the high water mark that we had here back in December of 2024. Okay, December of 2024, we saw, you know, December 7th, 2024, we saw about $1.64 trillion in the altcoin market here. And yeah, we seen that also on Sunday 8th here, but then we lost that money on Monday, December 9th, had a big red candle. We lost almost 10% of the money that was in altcoin space. We tried to recover, but not really. We started losing. Money was leaving the altcoin space here. Around the time that Donald Trump got inaugurated, there was a little bit of a price spike to higher prices, but we never got back up to $1.6 trillion. However, all throughout 2025, we had this nice steady recovery going from April, May, June into July, and now here we are in August, and we have tested the $1.64 trillion mark before. We actually seen the highest amount of money in altcoin space was about $1.69 trillion here on August 14th. Okay, that was nice to see. We lost a little bit of it, then we came back up. We got up to 1.69 trillion this past Sunday, about a few days ago here. And now we're trying to make our way back up to 1.64 trillion. Okay, I think we might be able to break the lid here and actually pop up and go to higher prices for altcoins here, based on what we're seeing with the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. Now let me go ahead and do a Fibonacci to give you guys some ideas like how much more money could go into altcoins. If we measure from this you know, from this swing high here down to the swing low, down about right here at 830 billion. Okay, we have some numbers to look at. Our first rest stop might be about $1.87 trillion. Might be a place where we get some resistance. That's the 1272 fib extension level here. Then when we get up to about $2 trillion, that's going to be the 1618. I think that's going to be some significant resistance. That's still about another $400 billion going into altcoin space here. Okay, and then of course, we do have some numbers to look forward to in the future here. We could see about $2.96 trillion going there. That's the 2618. And then, of course, we got the 3618 saying that $3.78 trillion could go in there. And if we have $3.78 trillion going into altcoin space, that's essentially every single altcoin out there, no matter how bad they're doing right now, they're going to double in price if we can get up to that amount of money going into altcoins. Because basically that 3.7 is doubled what the number here is for 1.6. So could be a lot of money coming into altcoin space. Let me go ahead and turn on the money flow indicator here, so that way we can see what money has been like, if it is going in or going out of total 2 here. I click on the indicators here. Go to money flow by Joe Cool. Okay, and this is the money flow that we're looking for. Let me get rid of these other indicators for now. Get rid of this for now. You can always come back and put that on later. Okay, but we're looking at the money flow, and you can see that money flow is in the green. Okay, it is starting to come in. It started coming in big time here in July, and then also we got some here in August. We kind of are making lower highs here. That's a little bit disconcerting, okay? But money is still flowing into altcoins, okay? We still have money going into altcoins. And if we keep having money going into altcoins, I mean, what is that going to do to the altcoins? The price is going to go up, right? As they are currently doing so right now, okay? So we do have money flowing in, right? It's not like it was back here in March and April where we saw money leaving, okay? Let me go ahead and fix that. I gotta lock that in. But it's not like here back in February, March, and April where we saw money leaving altcoins, okay? And it was doing it in a violent fashion back in March and April. But we do have money coming back into altcoin space here, if you haven't noticed it already. And it came in full force in July. And hopefully maybe we might see it come in full force again and compete against what we saw here in July. But we are still making lower highs, so a little bit disconcerting, but money's still coming in. All right. I see we have a few people in the chat here. I see John. Of course, we'll look at Kronos. I see Kronos is doing very well, very spectacular. I think it's hitting the 1618 target now at this point. Okay. But we'll take a look at Kronos. Yes, we'll take a look as one of the first requests. Thank you for coming in. You're always the first one to come in. So that's why we always do that first request for you. And I see Kevin's in there, and I see BC Pork Co-op. Good morning to you guys, and good afternoon. It's now afternoon here in the East Coast, so I'll say good afternoon to you guys here. All right. I also see Kel Sitcher is in the chat, hitting the like button. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. We're talking about the altcoins here. Let me know what your favorite altcoins are, and I'll go over it, and then we'll go ahead and, you know, take a look at the charts. And if I'm giving you guys good TA, you guys should, at the very least, it doesn't hurt. It's not going to cost you anything to hit that like button, smash that like button. But I see that we have another request here for Solana. I do want to look at Solana. Okay, appreciate that request. Okay, and yeah, I could just give you my initial thoughts on Solana right now. I think Solana is going to go to $225 by the end of this week. Looks like it's well on its way to do that. And let's see, what else do we have here? I saw somebody write something else here. Kami says welcome. Welcome to you as well. And ooh, Kami says you have a nice juicy short on Kronos. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, John. We got somebody here on TikTok that's shorting your Kronos over here. And of course, I see Cursings in here. Good to see you as well. All right, and you know what? That's why we have markets, right? We have competing opinions here. Some people think the assets are going to go up. Some people think the assets are going to go down. I can understand why you would want to short Kronos, okay? But usually it might be better to wait for some confirmation, or at least, you know, take a look at the charts and see if it's overheated on the RSI before you enter a short on any of these assets here. But I get it, you know, it has done a run up here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kronos, okay? We just looked at the altcoin market here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Kronos, because I believe Kronos is having some spectacular price action right now. Alright, here we are. Okay, so Kronos currently trading at 27, almost 28 cents here. I have done previous chart work here. I'm going to zoom in as best as I can. Okay. And what do we got here? Kronos. Wow. Some god green candles here. Up 37% today. And it was up 30% yesterday. Okay. Alright. And we hit those take profit targets that I had. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Wow. See, we were already talking about like Kronos going up to like 27 cents here. And that would have been a 30% move. And it literally did that. Like, we talked about this yesterday, and it did it today. Okay. So congratulations to the Chronos investors that are out there that are making money on Chronos. You have hit the 2618. We had a 2618 fib extension level here at 26 cents. So you are very overextended, and we're gonna have to eventually redraw the Fibonacci here at some point. But I think these levels are still key levels to take to pay attention to here on Chronos. And you know, Chronos, like we said, we were targeting 26 cents. We already hit that today. Congratulations. You should be clicking the sell button, taking profit. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do, because you almost pretty much doubled your money from what you had a week ago here. Not even, like by Monday it was like at 15 cents, and then what, today we got up to 29 cents. Yeah, most people have doubled their money here on Chronos. I think the move has been made. I would say you're pushing your luck if you're trying to stay with Chronos and go to higher prices. I would, you know, before I even look at the oscillators, I would probably say that this thing needs to cool down a little bit here. Okay, let's go ahead and throw on some oscillators here. See what the RSI is doing here. RSI on Chronos is at 85.65. Okay, so totally understandable why someone will want to short it right now, because anytime you're above 70 on the RSI, you're overbought. Okay, you're overbought, you're overcooked. You're really pushing your luck if you think it's going to go to higher prices from where it is right now. Most likely, at best, it will probably go sideways, and at worst, the price will probably actually come down. Let's see what the MACD is showing here as I start to zoom in on it. I hate it when it does this, but yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay. MACD on the daily time frame, you are starting to get some green candles showing up on Chronos. Okay, on the MACD, so you had your MACD flip. You went from red to green here. Okay. The problem that I'm seeing here is if this is the beginning of a crazy bull run here, you could see some more green candles showing up here. For my guy that is shorting Chronos, okay, I would be looking for light green candles showing up on the MACD on the daily time frame. Okay, I mean, we could zoom in on the 4-hour time frame. Maybe that there is some light green showing up, but if you see some light green showing up on the MACD here, that usually means that the buying pressure is dying down. Could be a signal for you to start entering your short. Okay, so I would, you know, in my opinion, just looking at the daily time frame, I wouldn't short Chronos just yet. I would try to look for that light green to show up here. Like, you see these light green candles, and then it turned into red. Okay, and it went from buying pressure to selling pressure here. Okay, that's where I'm looking for. I'll be looking for like a MACD flip or the beginning of buying pressure dying down, and then seeing some selling pressure coming in. Okay, so me personally, I wouldn't short just yet, but I get it why you would try to enter a short. You could possibly maybe add to your short if we do go to higher prices here. And then of course, stochastic RSI is getting high. Okay, but we have seen stochastic RSI higher at like 100. Right now, stochastic RSI is at 79, so there could be a little bit more juice in the tank for Chronos to go to higher prices, as crazy as that might be. Okay, so I'm looking for confirmation. I know, yeah, RSI is overbought, and this thing has made a significant move up in price here. If you were to short it, you know, you probably would put your stop loss right above 29 cents. You know, with you shorting at 27 cents, you know, I'd probably put the stop loss at 29 or 30 cents here. And if you're wrong, you know, you're not going to get hurt too much as this thing does climb up to higher prices. If it does climb up to higher prices, I think, you know, resistance at 33 cents is going to be tough for you to beat. Okay, that's still like another, let's see, let's measure this out here. From where we are right now to 33 cents, you're looking at like another 21% move up in price possible here for Chronos. Okay, so, you know, I'm not sure how much leverage you're using. I think you did say how much leverage you're using, but you might want to keep your stop loss tight on the short, because we could still go up another 20% here. And you know, if you're using 10x leverage, that's going to be like a 200% loss. You'll lose everything that you have, to be honest, you know, if you're using 10x leverage. Let's see, you're using 20x leverage. Okay, all right. And you shorted it at 27.95. Okay, okay. All right, let's go into the 4-hour time frame because I want to see what the 4-hour time frame is showing on the MACD here for Chronos. You can see that the buying pressure is still increasing here on Chronos. So I would be very wary of this. Hopefully, I would probably move your stop loss to break even. Not financial advice. You do whatever you want to do. But you said you shorted at 27.95, so you're kind of in profit right now. I would probably put it towards break even so you don't lose money, because if you lose money, then it just means that now's not the right time to be shorting it. You could get a better entry at higher prices for your short on Chronos. Let's take a look at the 1-hour time frame. 1-hour time frame. 1-hour time frame. You're also overbought here. Oh jeez, my computer's acting a little slow right now. You are overbought. RSI 84.74 on the 1-hour time frame. You still have some green candles here. You are starting to get a light green candle, but well, how much? We still got 34 minutes left here. That light green could turn into solid green as we get more buying pressure here for Chronos. So I think you're short. Like I said, I'm glad that you're still in profit, a little bit of profit right now, but I would move the stop loss to break even in case you're wrong, because it could still probably go up to higher prices. I would wait for confirmation. If I see a light green showing up on the MACD here, I would possibly start shorting it. You're not going to get the very top, but you can see what the top was, and then you'll know that the light green, the buying pressure is dying down, and the market is in your favor if the buying pressure is dying down. Okay. Also, I would probably look for maybe some more bearish divergence on the 1-hour time frame. Right now, you kind of do have some bearish divergence. All right. So I do see that, you know, you are making lower highs here. You want to continue seeing that, but this could take a while you're waiting for the bearish divergence to play out. Obviously, price is going up, higher highs, but you have lower highs here in the RSI on the 1-hour time frame. I would probably wait until we make another lower high here on the RSI, and then short it again or add to your short. Okay, that's how I would play it. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do in that situation. All right, let's see. We got some more people in the chat here on TikTok. Let me just catch up on the chat here. XACU says, do I see a dump coming? I don't really see a dump coming, but I know that the markets are paying attention to what Nvidia is going to say later on this afternoon, this evening, when they report their earnings. So maybe that might be when a dump comes in. And of course, yeah, we're going to look at Solana. Yep, that's maybe the next one after Chronos. And let's see, what am I catching? What's okay, we have Prithvi saying, what's about LRC and XLM? Which one has high potential to grow, and how high can it go? I'm more familiar with XLM than I am LRC. I know XLM is kind of similar technology to XRP. I can't really compare the two because I don't really know much about LRC. It's just another altcoin. There's out of thousands of altcoins out there that I can't be an expert on all of them. But I think XLM looks good to be. I actually got into a leverage long on XLM, so I think XLM might be going to higher prices from where it is right now. If that helps you with your analysis. See, Solana has two bottoms in on the 15-minute, is what Kursing's saying. Okay, well, we're gonna look at the Solana, and you said it's on a downtrend. Solana's on a downtrend. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's see. Nasir is saying something about, what are you saying here? You're up 400%. Jeez. And then Kami said, good advice. Thank you. I appreciate you appreciating my advice here. Solana on the downtrend. We're waiting for a rate drop for new all-time highs, is what created Core Tech. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Solana on the charts here. And You were saying Solana was down like a double bottom, or no? I'm sorry. What did you say here? I'm doing a TikTok live stream and a YouTube live stream here, guys, and I'm just trying to catch up on the chat here. But I remember you saying something about Solana and something about the 15-minute chart. I guess we could take a look at 15-minute chart. Yeah, there's just so much in the chat here. All right, let's look at Solana. All right, from top to bottom, we'll look at the daily chart here for Solana. Then we'll go into the 1 hour and the 15-minute. Solana is currently trading at $207.41, up 5.9% today. Getting past this $195 level, which is a Fibonacci level that we were looking for, is the 50% retracement. If Solana continues being bullish, we're looking to see if Solana can make it back up to like 219 or 225 bucks, which is the golden pocket level here. That is where I am targeting. I actually am leveraged long on Solana as well, and I'm trying to push this up to 220 bucks here on the long for Solana. Downside, if Solana was to lose its uptrend here, we could possibly come back to the $171, which is the 0.382 retracement level here. However, if we do that, we're losing this uptrend that we've been in and losing these higher lows that we made here for Solana. Let me go ahead and get rid of this for now. I got like so much on this chart here. But we're clearly in an uptrend and making higher lows and higher highs. We saw Solana make the last higher high here in the daily time frame on Monday at $213. I think we might see that later on today. We shall see. We got up to like $209.43 on Solana. RSI is at 59, so we're comfortable and ready to go to higher prices if need be, because we're not overbought. Last time Solana was overbought on the daily time frame was over here on Tuesday, July 22nd, when we saw 82 on the RSI. Okay, here on the MACD for Solana, we obviously had selling pressure during the last week of July, first week of August. Selling pressure died down, and then we got the buying pressure coming in, where we saw Solana get up to like $210 on August 14th. Then we had a little bit of selling pressure, but not enough to actually push us down. We actually made a higher low, and then we came back up and we saw $213 for the first time here on August 25th here. We still have some buying pressure. It's a little bit of weak buying pressure, but it's still there, and we could probably see increase in buying pressure if the altcoin market starts getting more bullish here, which I think it might going into the end of August, first week of September here. And if it does, yeah, we're looking to see if Solana can get up to 220 bucks. But let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 hour time frame here. 1 hour time frame, Solana is it was overbought like a couple hours ago, but right now 68 is the RSI number here for Solana. You could say this is a double top on the RSI here on the 1 hour time frame at 74 back here last night at 12 o'clock, and then here at 11 o'clock in the morning. We are playing around with being overbought here on Solana, but that's what you need in order to get the prices to go up higher here. You need to be overbought. MACD is showing that the buying pressure is dying down. It was a lot higher last night, and now we're kind of like dying down here on the buying pressure for Solana. Alright, doesn't mean that we're gonna immediately see selling pressure, because the buying pressure could increase again out of nowhere. Like kind of right here, like you see buying pressure was increasing on Tuesday, going into Tuesday afternoon, and then Tuesday afternoon in the evening we started seeing the buying pressure die down. And then it started increasing last night around like 10 o'clock. So the buying pressure could start increasing again on the 1 hour time frame. That's a possibility here. And of course, stochastic RSI is relatively high, but it could stay high. As you can see, it's been staying high ever since Tuesday morning here at 3 o'clock in the morning here, East Coast time. So we'll pay attention to that. Yeah, I understand that the move might have been already made on Solana, but I still think Solana could push its way up to 220. Maybe later on today or tomorrow or later on this week. I think that's the target that we're looking for Solana. Downside targets. We could come back and revisit the $195 level for support again. That's where we see some of the moving averages are bunched up near 195, 196. That could be a good support zone to be buying some cheaper Solana if you're inclined to do so. All right. Just catching up on the chat here on YouTube now. Let's see. John316 says, smash the like button. All coins will be blessed. All right. I like that attitude. It's okay to short Chronos. It will go down, of course, but upwards after that. So John's okay with you shorting Chronos. And then he says, Damien, love Chronos now. LOL, God is good. Yep, God is good. You are right about that. And then let's see. We have BC Porcorp says, can you take a look at Serve? Loading the bags at the bottom and finally getting some movement. All right, we'll take a look at Serve as one of the requests here. You can probably take a look at that after we just finish off here on Solana. Let's see, I got some more messages here. Kurt saying, you want me to look at the Fibonacci on Solana, I believe. And then we have a request for Ethereum. Okay, we'll take a look at Ethereum. And then a request for Chainlink, I believe. Okay, we'll take a look at Chainlink. And Nasir says there's some bearish divergence. Yep. Okay. What is FEG? I don't know what FEG means. Is that a crypto? Or an acronym for something else? But let's look at the Fibonacci here for Solana. So I drew this Fibonacci for Solana. I drew it from the high that we made here at $295 back in January of 2025 here, earlier this year. And I drew it all the way down to the $95 level low for the year that we saw for Solana at April 7th. We got down to like $95 here. And it gives me the Fibonacci numbers here. You got the 0.236 at the $142. You got the 0.32 at 171. You got the 0.5 at 195. And then you got the 618 at $219. You got the 786 at $253 here for Solana. Those are the Fibonacci levels that we're looking for with Solana this year. All right, let's move on to Serve. And then we'll take a look at Ethereum. Serve Robotics. Look at that Serve currently trading at $11.74 here. Up 14% today. Wow. Okay, so you're catching some bids right now on Serve. I'll go ahead and draw out the Fibonacci right now for this asset. Looks like we got a high back here at $24. Take this down to the swing low in March at like, I believe, $4.50. Let's see, we got down to like, yeah, $4.66. Let me just zoom in here a little bit more. We actually came down to like, yeah, $4.66. All right. Let me just readjust this a little bit. 466. Yeah, right there is good. All right, so we got a Fibonacci to work with. With this asset here, Serve Robotics, 0.236 is at $9.29. The 0.32 is at $12.15. I think you actually came up to that today. Yeah, you came up to $12.19. You're already hitting a fib level here. Which was a level that was being hit back here in July as well. And if you were to continue to go higher prices and actually use this as a support rather than a resistance, then the next level to look for is $14.45 as your 0.5 retracement. I think that's a level that we saw back here on May Yeah, we got up as high as $14.27, so not exactly, but that is probably going to be your next resistance level. Anyway, this high here at $14.27, and also the Fibonacci at $14.45. Then moving on from there, you know, we would like to get back up to the 618 at $16.76, which is confluent with the prices that people were paying back here in January. People here would probably click the sell button on you once they see that they're back to break even again at like 16, 17 bucks. And then moving forward, there is a 786 retracement, could act as resistance at $20. That's a psychological level, and also I think that's also a level that people were buying back here in January as well. Yeah. So I would probably put take profit target 1 at like 16 or 17 bucks, and take profit target 2 at $20 here. Just using the Fibonacci here. And how high did this thing get up to actually? It got up to about 24. Let's see. Come on, computer. Stop being slow, man. $24.35 was the high water mark here on January 6th. And then also we kind of got up there as well. Last July, we got up to like $24.09. So I guess take profit target 3 would be $24. So there's take profit target 1, take profit target 2, take profit target number 3. Okay. And then we'll have to see, like, we can't really look at fib extension levels just yet. We gotta first see if we can reclaim the 618 retracement. But I think, yeah, you could probably have like almost like a 50% move up in price from where you are right now. Just getting back to the 6.5 retracement, yeah. About 47% gain right there. Be a nice gain to have in the stock market world. Most people are happy getting 10% in the stock market. Well, I guess nowadays with inflation, people are happy with getting 20% on their assets in the stock market. But 47% is still good for a lot of people. All right. And I like the fact that you're making kind of like a bull flag and you're breaking out of it right now. So you had kind of like a bull flag here, making lower highs here, right? And you're also making lower lows here. And you're breaking out of this bull flag. Now, if this is a bull flag, right? Then it's going to look something like this on the measured move. You just take that flagpole. Of course, you got the flag. But you take this flagpole and you just put it to like where you're breaking out right now out of serve. And the measured move takes you actually to the 786 retracement. $20.18. So you could see serve get up to $20. Not sure when, but that's just the measured move here. It's saying that it's a possibility. And I like the fact that it matches up with the 786, like almost right on the dot here. Alright, so that's serve. Now we'll take a look at Ethereum, and then we'll take a look at Chainlink. Let's see how Ethereum is doing. I actually entered a long on Ethereum earlier this morning. Ethereum is currently trading at $4,623 right now. Let's see. Zooming in on Ethereum here. Ethereum is still maintaining this uptrend. This 21 EMA. Like I already predicted, I drew out the 21 EMA. If it continues doing what it's doing, we'll probably see a $5,000 Ethereum middle of September. Like right around here. Like around like Friday the 12th, or maybe I think it was like I think we said like it was Monday the 14th or 15th here. Yeah. We'll definitely see $5,000 Ethereum if we just keep doing what we're doing and maintain this bullish uptrend and momentum to the upside here. So that's a target for us to look forward to here for Ethereum. Let's see. Going into the oscillators here. RSI is showing some bearish divergence, so we got to be careful with Ethereum right now. Right? You are making lower highs here in the RSI. Now, this could get invalidated if we make a higher high than what we did back here on August 13th, where we saw the RSI at like 79.84. But with this bearish divergence, this says that, you know, you're pushing your luck with Ethereum going to higher prices. most likely there's a higher probability that it will actually go sideways. And then there's also a higher probability that it might actually start coming down to lower prices here. And if it does come down, then I do have a buy zone here. I think Ethereum between like 3,900 to like 4,200 should be a good buy zone area, where you could get some relatively cheap Ethereum at that price. Right now, looking at the MACD for Ethereum, you have, you know, lower highs here on the MACD as well, so that's just confirming the bearish divergence that's out there for Ethereum right now. Okay, buying pressure over here back in August 14th wasn't as high as buying pressure here back in July, so that's a little bit disconcerting. Doesn't mean that we can't go to higher prices, but you know, the move in Ethereum is starting to run out of steam according to the charts here. Stochastic RSI is still relatively low here on Ethereum, so maybe Ethereum is ready to surprise us to the upside here. It has the rocket fuel it needs to go to higher prices if it wants to. However, you know, looking back at the MACD, you are getting selling pressure here and it's solid red candles. I want to see some light red, I want to see like pink candles start showing up, meaning that the selling pressure is dying down. And eventually I want to start seeing green candles showing up here on Ethereum to get some more buying pressure to push us up to higher prices here. So that's what I see with Ethereum. The move might have already been made. It might be time to look at some other coins that could do this kind of sick gains that we saw Ethereum do over the last few weeks here. And I think that's what's going to end up happening here. Money rotating from Bitcoin into Ethereum. It did that throughout the month of July and August. But I think money is now going to start leaving Ethereum and start going into some of these altcoins here. Probably like XLM and Chainlink. I got to write that down. I didn't even write XLM. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at Chainlink here after Ethereum. All right, so yeah, Ethereum is very overbought in my opinion. Even though like RSI is coming down here, you got bearish divergence showing up. This thing could still go up to higher prices here, but I'd be expecting it to start going sideways sooner rather than later. And then to the downside, yeah, $4,200 Ethereum could get revisited here again, like we saw back here last week around August 20th here. I think that's your downside target for Ethereum if you can get some cheaper Ethereum at that price. All right, moving on to Chainlink. I know Chainlink was making some news headlines last couple of weeks here. Chainlink was also catching some bids here, and you can see on the daily time frame that Chainlink has been, you know, making an uptrend here. But just like Ethereum, Chainlink is also showing some bearish divergence, right? Making lower highs here on the RSI after making higher highs on the price on the daily time frame. This could get invalidated if we just get above, you know, I would say get the RSI above like 68 here. Show that there's still some room to go to the upside here on Chainlink. But yeah, bearish divergence is also starting to show up here on Chainlink as well. Of course, the MACD is now showing selling pressure. I wouldn't really start buying Chainlink until I start seeing the selling pressure start dying down here a little bit. We want to start seeing a pink candle showing up on the MACD, which we haven't got yet. However, the stochastic RSI is relatively low. So, you know, at any moment here, if we can just start catching some bids here on Chainlink, you know, I think Chainlink has the permission and the rocket fuel to go to higher prices here. And then, you know, we'll just see what the RSI ends up doing again. Could we get an RSI above 70 and go back to overbought territory and invalidate this bearish divergence? I don't know. We'll have to see in the next few days here. But if Chainlink actually does start catching some bids here, let's see if we could revisit the $27.86 level here that we saw last Friday. And then we have a 1272 fib extension saying that Chainlink could get up to like $31 before we, people start clicking the sell button here and taking profit on their Chainlink. And if Chainlink goes further than that to higher prices later on in 2025, we do have a 1618 saying that Chainlink could see $36.93 on the upside target here. I believe that's like a 50% move from where you are right now. Let's go ahead and just measure that out real quick. From where we are to that 1618, you're looking at like a 51% gain on Chainlink here. Yeah. Cool stuff. That's your upside targets for Chainlink. $31 and $36. Downside target, if we lose the 21 EMA here and we lose this $23.76 retracement, we could come back down to the 618 at 20 bucks, 21 bucks, which is also like a psychological level that I think people would try to scoop up some Chainlink thinking that it's relatively cheap. Alright, I see BC Port Co-op saying appreciate that, Damien. You're welcome. I hope I was able to give you some insights or maybe some confirmations on whatever your bias was towards that that robotic stock serve. Yeah. Alright. Let me just catch up with the chat here on TikTok. Red wants to look at Shiba Inu. Alright, I'll write that down. That's going to come after XLM. And then let's see. Oh, fair value gap. Okay, that's what FVG means. Okay, gotcha. The fair value gap on Solana is at 185 bucks. Okay. All right. And what are we saying here? Cursing says one more time, please. How did I? All right, Cursing. You want to know how I draw a fib? I just go to the Fibonacci tool here on the left. So it's like on the left side here, on the toolbars for trading view. You go down to the third one here down. You'll see like Gann and Fibonacci retracement, and then you just click on fib retracement here. And you measure, I usually go from top to bottom. Because when I do that, that gives me the Fibonacci extension levels to the upside here. Okay? So that's how I draw the fibs. Now I know some people draw fibs going the other way, from bottom to top, and you can do that too. But when you do bottom to top like that, right, you're not going to get the Fibonacci extensions to the upside. Okay? You'll get the Fibonacci extensions going to the downside. Now, this could be helpful if you're trying to do a short. If you're shorting or if you're bearish on an asset, then you can see what the fib extension levels might be to the downside here. Okay? But yeah, that's how I draw the Fibonacci. Just go over to the left. Three tools down, and then you get the fib retracement. Then you got trend fib base extension. I'm sorry, trend-based fib extension, and then you got some other things here with fibs, but you want the fib retracement is what I use to draw the fibs here. Okay, hope that helps. Red, you're asking about Shiba Inu. Yeah, we're gonna get into Shiba Inu. We're gonna look at XLM first, and then Shiba Inu. And let's see, I got a request here for WF. Is that World Liberty Finance? WFLFR. Cursing, you want me to look at serve again? We just looked at serve. You want me to look at serve again? Alright, just to revisit serve, let's see what I had for serve here. So I got serve, we said upside target. We're probably targeting about 16, 17 bucks. That's your Fibonacci 618 Fibonacci number there, golden pocket level. And then I think we could see $20 here, which is your 786 retracement. And I drew this fib from 24 bucks down to $4.67, and that was basically from the tops here back in February down to the lows here in April. That's how I came out with the Fibonacci number there. Okay. All right, moving on to XLM. And we'll currently look at XLM, currently trading at 38 cents, 38.5 cents here, down 2.36% today. XLM looks like, you know, yeah, we have currently a downtrend with the lower highs here, obviously. But you do have some higher lows being formed right here. This could be considered a bullish pennant. You know, just using a chart pattern analysis, if this is a bull flag or a bull pennant, then you just measure from the lows here down to the highs here. That gives you the measure move, the flagpole. And if we're gonna break out from like where we are right now in the price for XLM, then this says that we have a measure move and a target where we could see XLM get up to like 67 cents, that blue number right there. Alright, that's just using chart pattern analysis, which is a form of trend analysis, because if you're maintaining this trend to the upside, then it should end up, you should end up seeing those numbers at some point. But right now, yeah, we're in a bull pennant here for Stellar Lumens XLM, and you might be catching the bottom here, and you got a low. You know, the lowest low for August was like 37 cents, 0.0377 pennies, which is a higher low than what you had back here on the beginning of August when you were at like 0.362 pennies. So you can put your stop loss right at like, you know, 0.36 pennies, 36 pennies here. And you could be riding this thing up to higher prices if this thing does catch some bids here. Now, if it does catch some bids, we might get, you know, if we're going to respect this downtrend on the lower highs here, you might get rejected at like 44 pennies here. Okay. Only for you to then come back down, make another higher low, maybe at like 39 pennies before you start going back up again. Alright, but yeah, let's see what's going on here. Stellar Lumens just flagging out here, moving averages to the downside. You do have downside targets. Yeah, if we do lose 36 pennies, we could come down to that 50-day moving average at 34 pennies. You also got the 200-day moving average at 31 pennies. I think that's a good support zone for Stellar Lumens. You might be lucky enough to get some at that price if it does come down to that level there. And let me go ahead and measure this thing out with the Fibonacci now. If we measure from the high to the lows back here in July, you got your let's see, we're currently right above this 0.5 retracement. 37 pennies I think is a crucial level for us to stay above. And then we're trying to get back up to 40 pennies here, which is your 618 Fibonacci number, and also your 65 is at 41 pennies here. Move past that, then yeah, there's gonna probably be some resistance at 45 pennies for XLM. Okay, but then get past that, and then you know you might get the room, the rocket fuel that you need to actually go up to 52 pennies here, like you saw back here in July. All right. But we're just going to play this level by level. Right now, let's just try to get back up to 41 pennies. 40 pennies, 41 pennies. See if we can recapture that 618. And then we'll see if we can work our way up to that 45 penny level here for Stellar. Mooching with Mini Moo is in the chat here. He wants us to look at H-bar and Tau. Okay. Yeah, if you haven't already. Let's try to get the amount of likes to match the amount of people that are in the live stream right now. Alright. So cursing, I did not do a trend-based fib extension, but I can do trend-based. I just did a regular Fibonacci to come out with these Fibonacci numbers here. Alright. And Mooching with Mini Moo says, you open up a long for XLM and XRP. Oh, so then you should probably be in profit right now. That's good, that's good. Yeah, those are your downside targets, upside targets for XLM. Let's move on to Shiba Inu. I have some Shiba Inu spot bags. Let's see, is Shiba Inu, is it doing some positive things nowadays? Let's see what is going on here with Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu currently trading at 12.55, slightly up today. And as I start to zoom out here, you can see like Shiba Inu did pretty well during the little altcoin frenzy that we had back in December of last year. And of course, also March of last year, Shiba Inu, I think those were like, what, all-time highs? No, Shiba Inus have been higher than that back in like 2021. Wow, yeah, Shiba. So Shiba Inu is just making lower highs here over the months and years here. Okay, not good. But let's see, are we doing anything positive here for Shiba Inu in recent days and weeks here? Shiba Inu has been having a hard time getting above the 200-day moving average. This red line is acting like a bully right now. It has gone above it, only for it to stay above for like a few days and then get knocked back down below it. And then come back below it again. And try to get above it back here in August, middle of August, only for you to get below it. Now the good thing is that, you know, the 200-day moving average is lowering the bar for it to try to get above it. But I would not start to be bullish, and I'm pretty sure most traders and investors aren't going to start pouring their money into Shiba Inu until you can get above the 200-day moving average and actually use it as support rather than resistance. Right now it's acting as resistance, but that 200-day moving average is sitting at 13.24, so get above that, and then we can start being more bullish here on Shiba Inu. I like the fact that you are making higher lows here on the daily time frame. Let's see, we had a low back here on August 2nd at 11.60, and then on Monday we got as low as 11.83. So you are making higher lows, but let's start making higher highs. Can we? Can we start making higher highs, and then we can be more bullish on Shiba Inu? Shiba Inu is still making the lower highs here on the daily time frame here. See, that's no bueno. You're in a downtrend, but you're still kind of barely holding on to a little bit of an uptrend with the higher lows here. So let's see if I measure this out. Yeah, right there. So at some point, Shiba Inu is gonna have to start proving, you know, what it's made out of here. Around like the second week of September, we should get some resolution. Either this thing's gonna just continue going sideways and frustrate the hell out of us, or maybe it decides to like give up on us and go down to this 1,000 level here, which would be very unfortunate, but it's still a possibility here. Or maybe Shiba Inu could finally get its act in the gear and actually go to higher prices and get above this last high here at like 14.19. I think 14.19 is a level that you should be looking for if you're day trading it. You could take some profit at that level. And then also get above this high back here in on July 21st when you got up as high as like 15.98. So second take profit target level would be right here. Get above these red numbers here to the right. I'm going to put this as TP2, as take profit target 2. And this one's going to be TP1 here. Oh no. There we go. TP01. So those are your targets for Shiba Inu. And if we get up to like 14, 17, I think that's what? That's like a 25% move up in price. It's not too shabby. Oh no, less than that. It's actually 13%. Nothing to write home to mom about. But take profit target 2 is going to get you up to like 25% on Shiba Inu. And you just have to ask for this chart later on to see if we can actually get up to these levels here for Shiba Inu. But yeah, that's what I see for Shiba Inu. Upside targets and then downside targets. You know, don't lose the low here from the beginning of August at 11.60. Yeah, don't lose that, or else it could be more painful, more pain ahead. D510 wants me to look at algo. Alright, I'll go ahead and write that down. Algorand. Okay. Alright, then we'll just move on from Shiba Inu. We're going to look at World Liberty Finance. Yeah, we're going to get to H-Bar and Tau, Mooching, right after World Liberty here. Okay? It's coming up on deck. World Liberty Finance. Oh, there's gotta be more data for that. Did this thing just recently come out? It looks like it recently came out here on Mexi Exchange. If I don't have more data, then this is gonna be a really short look at World Liberty Finance here. But you said WFLR with an R. Or did you mean to say I? Yeah, let's see. World Liberty Finance on Binance? Yeah, there's not much data here for me to work with. I don't know what you want me to do with this. I have no moving averages here to work with. This thing's only been around since Saturday. Last Saturday, the 23rd. I could do just a Fibonacci, and that's about it for now. Let's see. This is all I can do for you right now. Because I have no moving averages, no data. And maybe I could see if the 15-minute chart is showing some information here with the moving averages. You're just now starting to get some moving averages showing up here. Yeah, 24 cents needs a hold here on the 15-minute time frame if you're going to remain bullish here. Let's go back into let's go into the 4-hour time frame. So you're below the 0.236 level here on World Liberty Finance. 28 cents is a target, your upside target. Then, then we'll see how it handles itself at 33 cents on your 0.32. Golden Pocket is at 41 cents for World Liberty Finance. That could be where this thing gets rejected or just trades sideways for a little bit. But yeah, that's all I can do here, World Liberty Finance. I don't really have much to work with here. Alright, moving on from World Liberty Finance to H-Bar. Now, H-Bar, I do have information to work with here. And I also have previous chart work as well. So we see World Liberty Finance is currently trading at 24 cents, down slightly, 0.3%. Looks like H-Bar is just flagging out. Okay. Doing a little bit of a bull flag here, but chilling near the 618 Fibonacci extension. I'm sorry, not a Fibonacci extension, just the 618 Fibonacci retracement at 23.5 cents here. A little bit above that. We're actually at the 6.5 Golden Pocket at 24 cents here. I'm trying to see if I can zoom in so you can see those numbers here. Yeah, you got the 6.5 Golden Pocket at 24 cents here. Get past 24 cents and then you might see yourself make your way up to that 26 cent level, which could act as resistance. That's 26 cent level was a level that we were trading at here on August 13th and August 9th. That's where traders and investors were settling up at, but it's also the 786 retracement level. So it makes sense that they decided to settle up at that level. If we could get past that 26 cent level here on H-Bar, then yeah, we'll see if we can challenge and reclaim that 30 cent level here, like we did back here on July 27th. Okay, that should be your first take profit target, and I think you'll be up about 25%, right? Yeah, let's measure that out real quick. From where we are right now to 30 cents, about 25% gain on H-Bar. And then you get the 1272 fib extension at 35 cents and the 1618 at 41 cents. We gotta first get past 30 cents, but I think that's gonna be a target, 35 and 41 cents later on in 2025 for H-Bar. And then downside target, you got your moving averages below you. The 50-day moving average could act as support at 20.5 cents. You also got a Fibonacci retracement at 21.5 cents. So anywhere between 20.5 and 21.5 could be a good buy zone to buy some relatively cheap H-bar if you can. Alright, you are long on H-bar from the other day. Obviously a hold. What's my thoughts? Take profit. Hold open, leverage perpetual all the way through to October. October. So you're trying to do leverage trading and also do a swing trade at the same time. If you're doing that, then I hope the leverage is low, like 5x leverage or less than that. But yeah, I think you can still stay in the trade if you're using 5x leverage, and you could ride this thing up. You know, 26 cents is an easy target. That could happen like later on today or tomorrow or next week. But then 30 cents, I think that could be your first take profit target. You can unload some of your some of your position at that level, and then 35 cents is going to probably be your second take profit target, and that might happen in October. Yeah, why not? It's only about a month and a half away. Not even, almost like a month. We're at the end of August. That's going to be the end of September is only a month away. Fabrizio is asking for Bitcoin. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at Bitcoin. We haven't looked at Bitcoin yet, but we've been focusing on the altcoins on this live stream, but we'll definitely finish off and look at Bitcoin. But let me go ahead and write that down. I am taking requests, and Bitcoin is gonna be after we talk about algo. So that's like, we got Tau and then algo and then Bitcoin to look at. All right. Idris wants to look at Pump Fund. Okay, we can take a look at Pump Fund. I believe that's ticker symbol Pump, right? P-U-M-P. And then Red, you're asking me about what asset are you asking me about here, Red? What do I think can get back up to where it was before? Yeah, you're gonna have to just, if you're still in the chat, let me know what you mean by which one you want me to look at can get back to where it was. Kami says that Trump coin is a seller's coin. No one's buying it. Plus, Trump is trading $1. I don't know what that means. And Idris, you think that the Pump Fund is going to go up after Nvidia's earnings later on today? I don't know why that's the case. Is Pump Fund related to artificial intelligence? I know like Virtuals is like that one's related to AI coins and AI agents, but I haven't really looked up Pump Fund to find out what it actually does. But I think Pump Fund is more related to meme coins, isn't it? I don't think it's AI related, is it? I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on from there. From H bar, I gave downside, upside targets. We're gonna move on to Tau. Let's take a look at Tau, USD, bit sensor. Tau is currently trading at $336.05. I don't have any previous chart work on this one. Actually, I think I like looking at this one on Binance because it has more data. Yeah. Alright, let me get rid of this previous analysis here. Tau currently trading at $336, as I already said, but still making lower highs. That's not good. It's still doing like this, right? I mean, even like lower highs here, but then, you know, just connecting the lower highs, you're still in a downtrend for Tau. However, you are making higher lows here. So you have like kind of like a panic being formed here on Tau. 200-day moving average, pretty important moving average to pay attention to, is that red line is sitting at $348. I cannot be bullish on Tau until it gets above the 200-day moving average. That's my criteria for being bullish on an asset. You get above the 200-day moving average, I can be bullish. My bias is going to be bullish. If you're below the 200-day moving average, then my bias is going to be bearish. Right now, I have to be bearish on Tau until it gets above that 200-day moving average, which is not too far away. All you got to do is go up like $12 more, and I can say, all right, we can be cautiously optimistic and bullish on Tau. But if you're below the 200-day moving average, it's really hard for me to say like you're going to see, you know, higher prices. All right. But anyways, moving on from Tau. If Tau was to get up to higher prices there, I would want to see it get above this last high here on August 13th when we saw it at $404. And then I want to see it get above this other high here at $461 on July 22nd. If you can do that, then you're starting to make the case that you're actually making higher highs instead of lower highs. And then of course, you are making higher lows, and then you could say that maybe the trend is changing and you got an uptrend or a bull trend on Tau. But you can't do that until, you can't say that until you actually start doing it, and you got to get above $461 on Tau. So do that, and then I'll start getting more excited here about Tau. But as far as like, you know, if playing this as like a swing trade, yeah, you could probably put your stop loss right below the lows here on yesterday. We came down to $318. You could probably put your stop loss at $317 or $315. Even more conservative would be put your stop loss below this candle wick low here on June 22nd, where you got down to like 288. You know, you can put your stop loss at like 286 or 287. And if we actually come down to 286, 287, and you get stopped out, then probably means there's something still wrong with Tau, and Tau doesn't want to go to higher prices. But Tau is a AI affiliated coin, and I'm expecting if Nvidia has some good earnings today, maybe this thing could catch some bids, get above that 200-day moving average at 348, and then maybe we could start pushing ourselves up to like 360 or $400 here on Tau. And you could be catching the bottom on this little bit of uptrend that you got going on here for Tau. All right, let's see. What is Mu Cheng saying? Mu Cheng, you said 10x long. Let me go back. Let me first read what you said here. Well, first Cliff said, yo, Dame, can you look at KeyCat? Should I hold or take profit? All right, so that's a request here, I think, for KeyCat. Yeah, let's see. What is KeyCat? Can you just explain that one to me? What is that one all about? I never heard of KeyCat. And Mu Cheng says he thinks he means keyboard cat. It's a meme. Did well with a recent pump. Okay. And you said that you love virtuals. Yeah, I have a little bit of virtuals. It's been disappointing the past few months here. But I have some virtual spot bags. I would like to see it go back to higher prices again. You see lower, and then Mu Cheng says the memes move so well. Pangu, Bonk, Mudang, KeyCat. All right, and I'm just reading the live chat. 10x long from there. You have two friends just finished blockchain degrees in London. And they both call Tau at $30 for you. Massive for AI. These kids live tech and tell me it will be big. Yeah, I keep hearing good things about Tau. It's just the price action has been lackluster all throughout 2025. You caught the bottoms. You know, it would have been nice to buy Tau, you know, in April when it got down to like $167. But, you know, that's lower than what it was doing back here in November and December of last year when this thing was at like $700. But anyways, let's move on from Tau. We'll take a look at Algorand. Just moving along here. And then we'll look at Bitcoin after this. See how Bitcoin is doing. Algorand currently trading at 25 cents, down 0.5% today. I did see Algorand did have like a bull pennant here, and I measured the measured move. If you take this impulse move and you just replicate it, and you put it to like where we are, possibly could be breaking out at like 25 cents here, you could see Algorand get up to like 42 cents. And that puts you like smack dab in between the 1272 fib extension at 39 cents and the 1618 at 45 cents. You could see a 40-cent Algorand in the near future here. All right, but right now Algorand trading at 25 cents. You're just staying right above the 0.5 retracement. You got the 618 at 27 cents, could act as resistance, and the 65 at 0.27 and a half pennies here could act as resistance. And you can see like we actually hit those levels. You know, we came up to like 28 cents here on what, Sunday, a few days ago, before we got rejected. So that 618 and 65 is acting as resistance right now for Algorand. But push past that, the next resistance is going to be about roughly 30 cents. And yeah, you can see we kind of hit that level here back here on July 21st. Okay, so these are the levels to play off of if you're day trading or swing trading these assets here. I think 27 cents could act as resistance one more time, and then of course 30 cents to the upside. Downside targets, you're looking for the 50-day moving average, probably sitting at about 22.5 cents, which is confluent with that 0.382 retracement at 22.5 cents. So 22.5 cents could be where you could buy some cheaper Algorand if it does go down to those prices there. But man, if you do that, then you're kind of invalidating the lows here back on August 3rd, when we came down to like 22. Actually, no, if you get down to 22.5 cents, it's actually going to be still technically a higher low. But you're really pushing it. You're really like taking it to the extreme here, because the low back here on August 3rd was like 22.2232 cents on Coinbase Exchange, and then you got 0.2234 pennies. Yeah, I mean, technically you would still be making a higher low, but you're really taking it to the extreme. I think, you know, it would be nice just not to make any more lower lows here, and just try to stay above this low back here on August 20th, when you got as low as like 20.236 pennies. Yeah, don't go lower than that. Don't make things more gut-wrenching and heart-pounding here than it has to be. But yeah, I drew this uptrend here because I thought we were gonna maintain it, but we didn't. So I have to redraw this now. So this is looking more like this now. Okay, on the bullish pennant here. All right. So yeah, downside targets. You could get some cheaper Algorand at 22.5 cents. Upside target, get past 27 cents and 30 cents, and then of course get past 34 cents, and then we got, you know, basically 39 cents and 45 cents as upside targets for Algorand. Somebody wants you to look at RSR. Okay, that might have to be the last request for now, because we're getting about an hour and a half into this live stream, and I usually go for about 2 hours with you guys, so I think I can fit that one in before I have to head on out. Alright, let's see, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin now as a request. What is Bitcoin doing? Are you doing some positive things here? Bitcoin's at 112,200. I would like to see it get up to 113K later on today, if possible. I have looked at Bitcoin, as we always do in every live stream here, but this live stream we finally are looking at Bitcoin now, because we kind of made this an altcoin centric, altcoin focused live stream. But sure, let's look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the top dog, the first one to do it, the one with the most money in it. Bitcoin currently trading at 112,220 $239 and up 0.4%. Barely holding on. Like we're staying above. As long as we're above this 50-day moving average, I think we can still remain bullish here on Bitcoin in the near term. That 50-day moving average is at 111,674. Let's try to stay above that if we can. All right. That $111,600 level is also confluent with this 0.5 retracement at 111,400 on the Fibonacci. I would like to see Bitcoin then try to make for higher prices here and actually get up to the 618 at 114,500, and also the 6.5 level at 115,347. Okay, let's try to get up to those levels to remain bullish here on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is not able to remain bullish and we start seeing some more red candles here in the daily time frame, then we could see Bitcoin try to revisit the 108K area all over again, that 0.32 retracement, which is what we saw back here yesterday, where we saw Bitcoin get down to like 108,670. I think there's even more stronger support if Bitcoin does go to lower prices. We have $104,500 is the 0.236 retracement. And that's also where the 100-day moving average is also sitting at, that blue line right there. So you got very strong support at 104,500. It's also a level that a lot of people were buying Bitcoin at back in May and June earlier this year. So these people are still in profit. It's not until Bitcoin actually gets down to 104K where they are just, you know, whatever, they're break even. But you start to lose 104K, and then these people will start to sweat bullets, and they might click the sell button thinking that the bull run in Bitcoin is over. And then you have the 200-day moving average sitting at about 101K. That could be your last line of defense here to remain bullish here on Bitcoin. If we lose that 200-day moving average at 101K, I have to then become bearish on Bitcoin, because my criteria is anytime you're below the 200-day moving average, you have to first be bearish before you be bullish. And then when you get above the 200-day moving average, which we are right now, you have to still remain bullish rather than bearish. Like my bias right now is I'm still bullish on Bitcoin as long as we're above that 200-day moving average. Okay. I'll be even more bullish if we could stay above the 50-day moving average, sitting at 111,600, which we are. So I can still be slightly more bullish on Bitcoin as long as we're above that 50-day moving average, which we're playing around with. We're flirting with it. But yeah, I would like to see us be more comfortably above it and get back up to that 114K here area for Bitcoin. Get above 114K, I think the altcoins will do fine, and then eventually I want to see us try to recapture the 119,000, the 786 retracement at 118.9K. Let's try to get up to that level. I feel like if we get up to that level, then we're threatening to get back up to all-time highs for Bitcoin. But you can see we haven't really stayed above 119K. Every time we get up to like 119, 120K, we get knocked back down on Bitcoin. We only stay above 120K for like a day or two before we end up coming back down again. So 119, 120K is going to be actually probably a boss level. We got to defeat that final boss here at 120K before we can start seeing Bitcoin go to new all-time highs. Idris, you're saying you're waiting, you're deciding on what to buy today, Pump Fund or Sahara? And then I see Kim came in the chat. You're asking for, of course, XRP. All right, I'll write that down. I believe XRP is going to be the last one that I look at today. Yeah, I already got a few requests, and I usually do these live streams till like 2 p.m. I've been live for about an hour and a half. We still got to look at Pump.Fund. We got to look at KeyCat, RSR, and then we got XRP here. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue on with the requests here. I could probably do a speed run. Maybe I might be able to fit the other ones in here. But yeah. Let me move on to the next one here. We're going to look at Pump.Fund. Wow, this thing hasn't really been on Coinbase for that long here. Let me see if I can find another exchange that has more data. Can we find it on Mexi exchange? Mexi might have more data. Mexi is almost the same thing, and usually Mexi gets the coins first before any other exchange. Like Mexi and Binance are pretty good at getting the coins and also getting me more data here. So I don't really have that much data to work with on pump.fun. But I'll try to do a quick Fibonacci on this as best as I can, measuring from the highs here down to the low. And you can see that, yeah, we kind of already hit some Fibonacci levels here. We came up to the 0.382 retracement at 0.0040 pennies. I'm just going to say 4,044 on pump fun. And right now we're currently trading at 3,100 on pump. We're up 8.2% today, so it's actually having a pretty good day. I would like to see pump fun try to get up to this 0.236 retracement at 33.75. Could act as a short-term resistance. And then we also have the 21 EMA starting to show up here on the chart. That's showing that we could get a little bit of resistance at 32.64. But I'm not sure how strong that resistance is. Just know that if you get above it, that's a good sign. Okay, right now we're below it, so not such a good sign. I think get above the 21 EMA, and yeah, then you can start being more bullish on pump.fun. So 32.64, you get above that level, and you could be more bullish here on pump. And of course, yeah, get above 33.75, and then you can be even more bullish here on pump. And then we're gonna see how it handles itself when it gets back up to 4,000, because that was the highest point that it got here in August 13th. We saw us at like 41.80. But you get past that level there, and then maybe you can get up to 0.5 retracement at 45.84, and then maybe you can get above that to the 618 at 5,100. I think 5,100 should take profit if you haven't already. Could trade sideways at that level there. You could get rejected and then come back to lower prices too. So I would not push my luck, and I would start taking a little bit of profit at that 618. 0.005125 pennies here. Alright, that's upside target for pump. Downside target, I mean, just don't go lower than what you did here back in July 29th at 22.61. Might want to put a stop loss there so you don't hurt yourself too much, because if you lose 22.61, then there's something wrong with pump.fun, and probably don't want to stick around to find out what that is. Alright, moving on from pump, we'll take a look at KeyCat. Keyboard cat. Alright. Oh, this thing has been at least on Coinbase for a little bit here since April. Could I find some more data for this one? Let's see, on Mexi Exchange. Yeah, I do have some more data. Keyboard cat trading at we're just gonna call that 6,295, up 22% today. Wow, okay, I get now why you want to look at it. So it is making some moves, but looking at moving averages. Moving averages are below you, so yeah, you are bullish as of now because you are above the 200-day and the 50 and the 100. But I just don't like these candle wicks. Like, you see how they have long candle wicks to the upside? I don't like this. This is kind of like pump and dumpy, you know, or scammy, you know, scam wicks. Yeah, you got another scam wick here. Look at this crazy ass scam wick here on March. You went up as high as like 5,100. I'm sorry, 19,230. You went up almost as high as 2 pennies on this asset, and you started the day off at like a half a penny, and then you came right back down to like a half a penny. That's imagine buying up here at a penny or a penny and a half, 2 pennies, and now you're stuck. You're in the red. That's why I call it a scam wick. All right. I don't like that, but whatever. You know, that's why you don't really put too much money in these meme coins, because you could get burned pretty fast. But you are making higher lows. I like the fact that I'm seeing that here with Keyboard Cat. Let me just draw that out here. You are maintaining an uptrend since March of this year. However, if we're just going to count the candle wicks here, you do have downtrend. It looks like that. Yeah. Okay. So you're trying to get out of this downtrend. I can see that now. Okay. Maybe you can retest the half a penny level here, and then move up to higher prices on Keyboard Cat. But I don't really like the market structure. I mean, I guess I could measure from here to here and get a little bit of Fibonacci going on. This is showing that the 618 is at 6,257. So you're kind of already at that. Yeah, you're already at the 618. So you reclaim the 618. And then the next resistance is going to be like 7,300. That could be a take profit target. And then next take profit is going to be about 8,600. Which is, yeah, that's the high watermark here in May. Alright, so those are your upside targets, 7,300 and 8,600 for Keyboard Cat. And then downside, don't lose the 200 moving average, which is starting to show up now at 3,800. That's also where the 0.236 retracement is at, 3,800, 3,871. Don't lose that, or it could be more, or it could be bad news for Keyboard Cat here. Waza wants to look at Palantir. Maybe I can fit that in. I don't really get too many requests for stocks, so I kind of want to honor that request. And I actually own Palantir myself, so maybe I might want to look at that. Alright, let's speed run this thing. Let's go to RSR now. We're now looking at RSR. Currently trading at 7,769, down 2.7% today. I have looked at this chart before. I have a take profit target 1 at about a penny, which is the highs that you saw here back in May. I think if you could do that, you're starting to show that you're making higher highs again. And then you got to take profit target 2 at basically 0.013 pennies. And this is a level that we saw back here in January, earlier this year. And it's also kind of like a high back here in March of 2024. So those are your take profit targets that I already highlighted, shown on the chart for RSR. As I start to zoom back in on RSR, what are we doing here? You do have an uptrend that you're maintaining. That's good to see. You might be buying the lows here on the uptrend. And you got this red number here is your 2-day moving average number. Your 2-day is at 7,752. You're just above it. Okay, let me just zoom in some more here. Just above it. Stay above it, please. And you might be just be buying a higher low here on RSR, and you might be seeing higher prices after that. Now I want to see us start making higher highs here. Let's get above this last high here in August when we saw this thing at basically a penny. Let's try to get back up to a penny again, and then try to get up to like 10,749 here is my take profit target 1 for RSR. So yeah, those are your upside targets for RSR. Get back up to a penny. Downside target, don't lose this last higher low here at 6,992. You probably put your stop loss at like 6,900. Because if you lose that, then there might be something wrong with this asset. Okay. All right, moving on from RSR. Let's take a look at XRP. I don't know if Kim is still in the chat, but we're looking at XRP now for you. XRP currently trading at $3.02. XRP is contending up against this 618 Fibonacci and the 6.5 between $2.99 and $3.04. $3 is also a psychological target that I think the XRP army is trying to defend as best as they can here. And they have lost that $3 level. Like earlier this week, we saw XRP as low as like $2.82 and $2.84, which is right above the 0.5 retracement. You see it, we came right down to the 0.5 retracement on Friday. We came right down to like a T on Coinbase Exchange here. But I think downside target, you got to stay above $2.78 to remain bullish here on XRP. You can continue to be bullish because you are above the moving averages. Your moving average support, the 50-day is at 264 and the 200-day is at 247. Stay above that, but that could be an area where you might get lucky enough to get some cheap XRP. Anywhere between like 247 and 264. Those moving averages right there. Okay. But the thing about XRP that's a little bit disappointing is you're still making lower highs here compared to what you did in July, where we topped out at 366. You're still in a downtrend on the lower high situation going on here. Let me go ahead and get rid of this this Fibonacci for now. And I'm going to just show you, like, you're kind of in a, we'll call it a bull pennant. And it looks like you could stay in this bull pennant where you're frustratingly making lower highs but still making higher lows. You can continue doing this all the way until the middle of September. And look at this, you probably don't get resolution until like Friday September 19th or Thursday September 18th. And that's a very magical date in my opinion, because that's the same date as the Federal Reserve interest rate FOMC meeting is going to be around that week of September. And maybe that's when we get that interest rate cut and then we see XRP launch up to higher prices here. But yeah, XRP could stay in this pennant up until the FOMC meeting. The way things are going right now. Alright, let me go ahead and get my Fibonacci back in there. Alright, gotcha. You're still in there? Good. So that's something to take into consideration, that, you know, XRP could just go sideways until the middle of September, end of September. The way things are looking right now on the charts. But if XRP does start, you know, cashing some bids here and going to higher prices, then I want to see it get back to 366 like everybody else that is invested in XRP. And then we do have the 1272 fib extension that says that maybe with that interest rate cut decision in September, we could see a $4.13 XRP, and then we could see a $4.74, and that's your 1618. But I think it's steady as she goes for XRP. Obviously, it would be nice if XRP could go to higher prices and just get above that last high that it made here in August. Get above 335 and 338. And then you might see some more money pouring into XRP. We're not doing any more requests, Kami. I'm getting towards the end of this live stream, and we still have a few more coins to go here. We're going to take a look at Palantir. And I think you wanted me to look at Hive as well. We'll look at Hive, and then we'll look at we'll look at Palantir first, and then we're gonna look at Hive, and then that's gonna be it for this live stream. All right, let's see. Palantir. What is Palantir up to? Palantir is like one of the best performing stocks in the stock market over the last couple of years now. We see that Palantir is trading at $157.80. We did see Palantir get as high as $190 on August 12th, not too long ago, about a couple of weeks ago. Had a nice nasty drop here. You could be buying a dip here on Palantir, but Palantir, right? Look at this. It's just been up and to the right, up and to the right. This has been one way to make a lot of money, is just be in Palantir for like the last couple of years, okay? This is an AI related stock. For those of you who like your artificial intelligence, this is a stock that sells artificial intelligent software to the government, and now they're starting to sell to some companies and corporations out there. So they got a good business model. They're making money, and it shows on this stock here. And you can see, like, look at this. Like, it doesn't get more beautiful than this. Literally, like, the moving averages are right where they're supposed to be. The 200-day on the bottom, that's the red line. The 100-day above it. The 50-day above it. 21 EMA, this white line, is also above the moving averages that are below it. And right now the price is actually below the 21 EMA. The 21 EMA is $168.79. You could say that this thing is relatively cheap because it's below the 21 EMA. Right? Every time we get below the 21 EMA, the price does eventually get right back above it, because we've been in this bull trend for like almost 2 years now. So you could be buying the dip here on Palantir. Okay? Looks like the next earnings report for Palantir is going to be November 10th. So you got quite a ways to go before you get another reading on as to how good things are for this company. The previous earnings report was back here on August 4th, and you can see that they had a surprise to the upside on their earnings. They were expecting 13 cents, and they actually reported 16 cents per share. That's about a 15% upside surprise, and they estimated their revenue to be $937 million. They actually made $1 billion in the last quarter, and that was a 7% upside on the revenue. So, you know, you can see that every time it's all these E's on the bottom are green, are earnings reports, and green means that they actually beat their earnings, and they've been beating their earnings ever since, you know, the end of 2023 was like the last time that they actually had a bad earnings report, and it wasn't really that bad. It was like they were only a surprise of like down 1%. But like even their bad earnings reports are not that bad. Okay. So is it a little bit understandable why this thing is climbing up and to the right and making new all-time highs every day and every week and every month here? This could just be a buying opportunity, in my opinion, here for Palantir. But we'll do a quick Fibonacci analysis to figure out where Palantir could go. I think I'm going to measure from the high here to the low. That's a swing high, swing low that I think some people might still be using for their Fibonacci, for their analysis here. So you can see Palantir has a 1618 fib extension level here at $162. We're slightly below that. That's probably what we're doing, is we're revisiting this $160 level here for Palantir. Now, if Palantir does go to higher prices here, we do have a 2618 that says we could see $221 Palantir later on in the future. And then there's a 3618 saying that, wow, Palantir could get up to like $281. But if Palantir was to go to lower prices, and we did see it go to low prices here on Wednesday, August 20th, we've seen it go down to that 127 fib extension level here at $142.34. You see how like these levels are still in play here? This Fibonacci gets respected, especially when you got professional traders and investors in a stock that's heavily traded like Palantir. These fib levels are very important. So I think your downside target is Palantir could revisit $142 all over again to the downside, and that'd just be, to be honest with you, a good area to buy. I think by that point, if the 50-day moving average will also start providing support at $140. So I think $140 is like a good area to buy some Palantir if you're able to do so. And then Palantir, if we can get past 160 bucks, we can revisit the highs again at $190 Palantir. And I still think Palantir is going to be up and to the right, going to like a $220 level here. Let's just measure, you know, if we were to maintain the trend here on the prices, making higher lows here, like we've been doing. Yeah, you can see that $220 level here around January of 2026. You could see a $220 Palantir. I see Dutchie's in the live stream, and he says purple hickeys are the best. Okay, and I see Steve's also in the chat, and Jareem. All right, now we got a request for Webull. You guys aren't gonna let me go. You know, get done with this live stream. You're gonna keep me on this live stream. You're gonna try to make this like what, a 3-hour live stream maybe? Got all these requests. All right, I'll try to see if I can do Webull. I could have sworn you requested it the other day. We looked at it the other day. And Steve was asking me, do I watch the 200 moving average? Of course I do. My moving average that I use, right? These are the moving averages that I use. The red line is the 200-day. The blue line is the 100-day. The green is the 50-day. And the white is the 21 EMA. That's how I do my moving averages here. Alright, let's see. Was asking what is the short-term target? Short-term target for Palantir? I mean, I kind of did. I thought I'd get the targets. You know, $141 is your downside target, and your upside target is going to be if you can get back up to $190 in the near future here. All right, let's take a. We're gonna look at Hive, and then we'll take a look at Webull. And I swear, I mean, that's got to be it for this live stream here. I do have to eat lunch, guys. Alright, we're looking at Webull. Currently trading at $14.61 here. Jeez, what happened to Webull? Like, April of 2025 was your best days here. It's looking like an altcoin. Like, this is kind of looking like a crypto here. One of these altcoins that had a bad start. But yeah, we're looking at Webull now, zooming in on the daily time frame. I have measured a Fibonacci from like around like $12 up to like $18 here, and you're just trying to stay above this 0.382 retracement at $14.51. If you lose that level, you could come down to the 236 at $13.61. However, that would put you below this last low that you had here on Friday when you came down to like $13.81. So maybe you're able to make a higher low and not actually go down to that level there. And if you're able to actually start getting some bids here again on Webull, you could revisit the 0.5 retracement at $15.24. That would also put you above this 21 EMA. The 21 EMA is sitting at $14.90. And then I think more people would start putting their money into Webull to work with Webull. And you could see 618 at $15.97. That could be your first resistance level to get past. Once you get past 15 bucks, you know, it's going to be $16. It's going to be the next target to get past. And then, of course, after 16 is going to be $17 for your upside targets. So I think upside target, obviously, is very simple to read, but it's like $16 take profit target, and then $17 take profit target too. And I don't know if we can actually start looking at the fib extension levels. I want to see if we can actually get up to like $18 before we start talking about fib extension levels here to the upside. Alright, moving on from Webull. Oh, Dutchie, you gotta go? Cheers to you, Dutchie. Glad to see you come back on the live stream here. If you come back, you know, usually I start the live streams at like 12 o'clock Eastern time. So if you come around that time, I can go over a request of yours. All right. And I usually go live for like a 2 hour from like 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So now we got to look at Hive. Is that Hive Digital Technologies, or are you talking about like Hive Mapper, which is like a cryptocurrency? Because you said Hive, I'm assuming it's the stock Hive. We'll take a look at Hive Digital Technologies. All right. And Kami, I see you got a lot of requests here. You just usually I stick to like 2, maybe 3 requests per person. And when you have all these requests, you kind of have to cash me there in the beginning of the live stream, and then I can get to your coins and your stocks, you know, relatively sooner, instead of being, you know, having all these requests here. Like I'll show you, like right now I had all these requests today. Okay. And for my YouTube guys, that's what I had today. All right. Let's take a look at Hive here, and then that's going to be it for today. Hive is currently trading at $3, up 5% today. You got above the 200-day moving average, so I can now start to be more bullish on this asset. My bias is going to be bullish rather than bearish. However, from what I've seen with getting past the 200-day moving average, sometimes we have to end up coming back to revisit here the 200-day moving average to see if that's actually going to act as support rather than resistance. And right now the 200-day moving average is sitting at $2.48. So don't be surprised if this thing does come down to like 248, 250, just to test it as support. You also got the last recent high here at 254, so that could be where we have to come back and retest it just to see if it's going to hold that support. And that would be nice, because then if you can get, you know, get in at $2.50, I think you could put your stop loss right below it at like 240, and this thing could be off to the races, and you won't have to worry about doing a high risk, you know, situation of getting in at $3 only for it to then go down to 250 here. Looks like I have looked at this before. Interesting. And you're just getting back to the levels that you were at. Looks like $3 is going to act as resistance for the most part, because this is a level that most people were getting back into this stock around like May of 2023, October of 2023, September of 2024, January of 2025. I feel like there's going to be a lot of resistance here. If I turn on the VRVP, I'm going to do that right now. The VRVP shows that the value area high is at like $3.20. A lot of people bought at that area, and they're probably going to click the sell button if this thing actually gets up to $3.20. So I don't think you have much room to the upside for Hive Digital right now. And the room to the downside, if you lose $2.80, you could come down violently down to this $2.45, $2.50 area all over again, where you got a lot of volume there. And then the POC is right below you as well. That POC is at $2.18, that blue line. That would be a good support area. If you're lucky enough to buy Hive Digital at that area, I think you could scoop some up at that 220 area, but most likely you'll probably come down to the 200-day moving average at 248. You bought some at $1.68. Congratulations. I think you might have caught the bottom, or at least you got in at a very low price. Let's see if I zoom in. $1.68. Oh, so you got in around like June of this year. It came as low as $1.60 on June 23rd, right after the bombs were being dropped on Iran. But the lows for the year was actually $1.28, $1.26, somewhere around that area. Okay. So you basically caught the lows here in June, and you're up. Congratulations on being in profit. And I just think you can continue being profit, but it's going to be hard to be pushing yourself up to 320, because I think a lot of people are going to click the sell button when it gets to 320. I would start thinking about taking profits right now and trying to buy back in again. You probably buy back in at 248, 250 if we come and visit this 200-day moving average, if you want to continue playing Hive Digital. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this live stream. I appreciate you guys coming into the live stream and asking about various stocks and crypto here. We've been live for about 2 hours. I'll try to go live again tomorrow around the same time, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll just see what these stocks and cryptos are up to. Right now I think Bitcoin, for those who are following Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin needs to get back up to 113 grand and then eventually 114 grand for us to remain bullish on Bitcoin. Don't be surprised if we lose 112k here and start coming back down to 108k to try and revisit that as support. That would be the support area that we're looking for Bitcoin is 108k. That's the Fibonacci 0.382. However, there's even more stronger support for Bitcoin at 104k if we're lucky enough to buy some at that area. Although that could get a little bit scary. That could be very brutal for a lot of people out there if we do come down to 104k. But there's a lot of support because there's some people that bought here back in June and May, and they would just be back at break even if Bitcoin gets down to 104k. Alright guys, that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow, same time. Take care guys.